Hello and welcome to WCMU's Quiz Central. Our teams tonight are Lapeer and Flushing, so don't go away.
Support for Quiz Central is provided by the CMU Bookstore. T-shirts, sweatshirts, hats, maroon and gold memories, and an official outfitter of Adidas apparel at the Central Michigan University owned and operated CMU Bookstore. Online shopping 7 days a week at cmubookstore.com, on campus at the University Center, and game day locations at Kelly Short Stadium and the John G. Kulhalvi Event Center.
Good luck to both of our teams. Let's play Quiz Central.
Chopin.
Correct. All right, your next toss-up.
The lottery.
Right.
The Stranger.
You are correct. Traverse City Central hangs on. They are our season champions. Hi there, and thanks for tuning in to Quiz Central. I'm your host, Steve Smith. And with us tonight, two fine teams from Lapeer and Flushing. They are two of 48 teams competing again this season. The Quiz Central teams are divided into 4 divisions based on school size. Each division will have a champion, and one of those teams will become this season's overall winner. Now, here's Rick to tell us about the scholarships from Central Michigan University that these teams are vying for.
The 4 starters and 3 alternates of the division championship teams will each receive a 2-year, $4,000 room and board scholarship from Central Michigan University Residence Life. In addition, 4 lucky Quiz Central seniors will receive textbook scholarships from the CMU Bookstore. And a special thanks to CMU Enrollment and Student Services, which provides lunch for our contestants and their traveling party.
Well, both of our teams are warmed up and ready to go, so we'll jump right into the maroon and gold round. Teams, this is a 2-minute timed round to answer as many questions as you possibly can. If the team ringing in misses the question, the opposing team will have a chance to respond. There's no talking among team members, and correct answers are worth 10 points. Good luck to both of our teams. Here is your first question of Quiz Central. Shira, Mwenzi, and Kibo are the 3 cones of what dormant stratovolcano, whose summit is the highest in Africa? Josh Flushing.
Mount Kosciuszko.
Nope, I'm sorry, incorrect. How about Lapeer? We will find out the correct answer in just a minute. On Easter 2019, what Asian country experienced a series of bombings at churches and hotels in cities like its capital, Colombo? Donovan Lapeer.
Sri Lanka.
That's correct. What poet wrote about frail deeds that might have danced in a green bay and lamented the dying of the light and do not go gentle into that good night? Next question. A dragon devastates the land of the Geats near the end of what Old English poem, whose hero is assisted? Cade Flushing.
Beowulf.
That is right. A capital bold Q symbolizes what set of numbers, which can be represented as a quotient of integers and have decimal expansions at the end or repeat? Your next question. What singer had a top 10 hit with a 1991 recording of the Star-Spangled Banner, as well as with songs How Will I Know and I Will Always Love You? Donovan Lapeer.
Whitney Houston.
That's right. Some voting machines still use what pieces of paper with holes that were used to input programs into early computers? Cade Flushing.
Ballot.
Nope, sorry, incorrect. Lapeer? All right, next question. On May 18th, 1980, what mountain lost 400 meters in elevation in an avalanche and volcanic eruption that killed 57 people in the state of Washington? Josh Flushing.
Mount St. Helens.
That is correct. What man, the successor of Moses, and we will not get to that. But if you're curious, he led the Israelite sack of Jericho. It would have been Joshua. But okay, at the end of our first round there, we have a tied score of 20 apiece. A couple of the questions that were missed. The dormant stratovolcano is Mount Kilimanjaro. The poet was Dylan Thomas. Voting machines still use punch cards. And a capital bold Q symbolizes rational numbers. So again, a tied game as we get a chance now to take a look at our teammates just a little bit closer and get to know them. Cade, we're going to start with you.
Hi, I'm Cade. I'm a junior at Flushing High School. I'm in Boy Scouts and I'm also in Mu Alpha Theta.
Hello, I am Josh. I'm a junior at Flushing and I am in marching band and jazz band.
Hi, I'm Lily. I'm a senior at Flushing High School, and I'm the class vice president.
Hi, I'm Addison. I'm a junior at Flushing High School, and I'm in theater and a cappella choir.
All right, nice to have you here again this year. Flushing's alternates are Allie Craven and Blaine Pricklick. They're coached by Karen Sleno. Let's have them a nice round of applause for the Flushing team. And now their neighbors, Lapeer. Brandon, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Brandon. I'm a senior at Lapeer, and I'm fluent in German.
Hi, I'm Donovan. I'm a senior at Lapeer, and I do robotics.
Hi, I'm Emily. I'm a sophomore at Lapeer, and I'm in marching band and dance.
Hi, I'm Shelby. I'm a sophomore at Lapeer, and I'm in marching band and key club.
All right, nice to have you here as well. Mackenzie Brosser is Lapeer's alternate, and their coach is Kim Kroll. Let's give them a nice round of applause. And with that, introductions out of the way, we jump right back into the kickoff round. The kickoff round is a combination of toss-up and bonus questions. The team that correctly answers the toss-up will be asked one bonus. Then we go back to a toss-up for both teams. Toss-up questions need an individual response, but team members can consult on the bonus. Captains, remember that the answers must come from you unless you defer to a colleague. Here is your first toss-up question. What policy implemented by the reunited National Party after a 1948 election formalized racial segregation until its 1991 repeal? Lily Flushing.
Jim Crow?
Nope, I'm sorry, incorrect. It's 1991 repeal in South Africa. Lapeer. Emily.
The apartheid?
That's correct, and here is your bonus question. What operatic term refers to passages of dialogue or narration that are sung with speech-like inflections, in contrast to the more melodic aria?
Anything?
Answer?
None.
Okay, recitative is the correct answer. All right, what title character remains home after battling the Knight of the White Moon and employs the square Sancho Panza in a novel by Miguel de Cervantes? Josh Flushing. I'm sorry?
Don Quixote.
That's right, and here is your bonus. A type of red ant is endemic to what island that was discovered by William Miners on December 25th, 1643?
Madagascar.
Guam.
Nope, you're going to kick yourself. Christmas. It was found on December 25th. Red
That makes
ants.
so much sense.
All right, here we go with another toss-up question. What nonmetal whose binary acid can etch glass, even though it's considered weak, is also, on the Pauling scale, the most electronegative element? Josh Flushing.
Fluorine.
That's right, and a bonus. What city's sacred band, a force consisting of 150 pairs of male lovers, was destroyed by Philip II in 338 BC?
Sodom?
Nope, Thebes. Next toss-up question for both teams. Angel Island Immigration Station was built to help enforce an 1882 act in which most of what Asian nation's immigrants were subject to exclusion? Donovan Lapeer.
China?
That's right, and a bonus. What German names a CGS unit that equals 10 to the negative 4 Teslas and a law that calculates the electric flux through a closed surface?
I got no idea. Ohm?
Nope, Gauss. Next question for both teams. FedEx sponsors the number 11 car of what NASCAR driver, winner of both the 2016 and 2019 Daytona 500 races? And go ahead, Lily Flushing.
Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Nope, I'm sorry, incorrect. Lapeer, you get a shot. Not seeing any nodding heads there. Denny Hamlin would have been that driver. Dynamo was the code name for what operation in which hundreds of little ships helped evacuate? Donovan Lapeer?
Dunkirk?
Yes, you are correct. All right, here is a bonus question. Emma Lazarus' poem, The New Colossus, appears on which U.S. monument built by Gustav Eiffel?
Nothing.
That would be the Statue of Liberty. Okay, your next toss-up question. Cole Calhoun is an outfielder for what MLB team, which signed Japanese prospect Shohei Ohtani, features superstar Mike Trout, and plays in Anaheim? Lily Flushing.
The Angels.
That is correct. Here's your bonus. What painter of the White Girl included the princess from the land of porcelain in his Japanese-inspired home interior, the Peacock Room?
No answer.
That was James Whistler. And that brings us to the end of our round there. All right, it's still tied up, 50 points apiece. So this is a great game, folks. You're not going to want to go away. As we take a break, we'll be back in just a minute to see if either team can score a perfect 10.
Preschool gives children the foundation they need to be successful in school and in life. But more than half of kids in the U.S. do not have the opportunity to attend a pre-K program, making them 25% more likely to drop out of school before graduation. The PBS Kids 24/7 channel provides quality programming, games, and hands-on activities that are proven to develop early learning skills.
When you say the word PBS, immediately quality comes to mind. And not just quality, but a massive cultural diversity. Everybody here in the United States gets a look at a global culture, which is phenomenally presented. What makes PBS so strong is that it is a product of the support of the public. It stands out as a public service. It reaches out and grabs the nation and it grabs the world, and I think that's wonderful.
Our score is all knotted up at 50 points apiece as we move into the Perfect 10 round. Teams, the Perfect 10 gives you 60 seconds to answer 10 questions from your choice of clues to 3 categories. The opposing team gets 30 seconds to tackle all unasked, missed, or passed questions. As I mentioned, we've got a tie. We flipped a coin over the break, and Flushing has opted to go first. So, Flushing, today's clues to the categories are Science Smarty, what do you stand for? And Main Jane. Science Smarty, what do you stand for? And Main Jane. Which one will it be?
Science.
All right, that category is actually PhD in science. Give these scientific terms that start with the letter PH. Element whose name means light bringing.
Phosphorus.
Yes, a quantum of light.
Photon.
Right. Hormone that affects the behavior of other organisms.
Pheromone.
Right. A virus that infects bacteria.
A phytovirus.
What?
Phytovirus.
Phytovirus?
Nope. The physical manifestation of one's genes.
Physical traits?
Physical traits.
Nope. Area where the oral and nasal cavities meet.
Pass.
Study of the proper functioning of living organisms, often paired with anatomy.
Physiology.
That is right. Term for solid, liquid, or gas.
Phases.
Phases.
Yup. Derivative of benzene, replacing a hydrogen atom with an OH group.
Phosphate.
Nope. And practice of using legitimate-looking emails in an attempt. We won't get to get a chance to answer that one. All right, Lapeer, a reminder, give these scientific terms that start with the letter PH. A virus that infects bacteria.
Pass.
The physical manifestation of one's genes.
Phenotype?
That's right. Area where the oral and nasal cavities meet.
Phalanx?
Nope. Derivative of benzene, replacing a hydrogen atom with an OH group.
Photosynthesis?
Nope. And then practice of using legitimate looking emails in an attempt to obtain personal information.
Fission?
Yep, unfortunately that has become a common word in our language, hasn't it? Okay, let's go back and see the ones that were missed. The virus that infects bacteria is phage. An area where the oral and nasal cavities meet, pharynx. And the derivative of benzene would be phenol. So, that changed our score a little bit here. Flushing moves ahead with 100 points. But now, Lapeer, you get your choice of our 2 remaining categories. And those 2 remaining categories are, what do you stand for and Main Jane? Which one will it be?
What do you stand? What do you stand for?
What do you stand for? Okay, that actual category is 2-word Latin phrases. Give these 2-word Latin phrases used in English from the initials and a translation. EC and so on.
Etc.?
Yep. SQ, the way things are.
Status quo?
Yup. CE, let the buyer beware.
Pass.
DF, in actuality.
De facto?
Yup. MC, through my own fault.
Pass.
BF, in good faith.
Pass.
VP, the voice of the people.
Pass.
EH, behold the man.
Pass.
AM, nourishing mother.
Pass.
And MO, great work or masterpiece.
Magnum opus.
That is right. All right. All right, we're back over to Flushing here. Give these two-word Latin phrases used in English from the initials and a translation. CE, let the buyer beware.
Consumers and opposite. Pass.
MC, through my own fault.
Magna Carta.
Nope. BF, in good faith.
Bona fide.
Yes. VP, the voice of the people.
Vos pluribus.
Nope. EH, behold the man.
Pass.
And AM, nourishing mother. That answer is alma mater. All right, the other ones, EH, behold the man, that's ecce homo. VP, the voice of the people, vox populi. MC, through my own fault, mea culpa. And CE, let the buyer beware, is caveat emptor. So that changes our score a little bit. Not really, we're still tied up, 110 to 110. So every single answer counts here as we move into our homestretch round. The homestretch round is like round 2, where we have a combination of toss-up and bonus questions. I'll ask one toss-up question, and the team that answers correctly will be asked one bonus. Then we go back to a toss-up question for both teams. Here is your first toss-up question. What geologic features that occur when the lithosphere is pulled apart can be found in the center of mid-ocean ridges? Cade, Flushing.
Trench.
Nope, I'm sorry, incorrect. I'll finish it. They can be found in the center of mid-ocean ridges and a namesake African valley. Lapeer. Not seeing any heads nodding. Rifts is the actual answer on that. Okay, your next question. What woman, the daughter of Francis Marbury, was exiled from Massachusetts Bay Colony? And that answer is Anne Hutchinson. What student of Samuel Morse, who often took credit for the work of his employee Alexander Gardner, personally photographed the Battle of Bull Run? And that was Matthew Brady. What word from the Greek for creeping things names the branch of zoology devoted to the study of amphibians, snakes, and other reptiles? Okay, herpetology is the answer there. What children's book characters is the younger sister of Beatrice Quimby, whom his character calls Lily
Ramona.
Flushing?
Ramona.
That's right, here's a bonus. What state, which was represented in the Senate by the isolationist William Borah for 3 decades, is led by Butch Otter and governed from Boise?
Idaho. Idaho.
You are right. All right, both teams play on this one. In Catholicism and Orthodox Christianity, August 15th is the feast day of what bodily ascent of the Virgin Mary into heaven? Emily, Lapeer.
Jesus.
Nope, I'm sorry, incorrect. Josh, Flushing.
The Ascension.
I'm sorry?
The Ascension.
Nope, I'm sorry, I can't accept that. Assumption is the actual term we needed. All right, back to both teams though. The character of Henry Beck was created by what author who described the failing marriage of Janice and Harry Angstrom in his 1960 novel Rabbit Run? Donovan, Lapeer?
Mark Twain.
Nope, sorry, incorrect. How about Flushing? The answer is John Updike. Another toss-up. What Holy Roman Emperor with a colorful beard drowned while leading his troops to join the Third Crusade? And that person, sorry, rang in a little too late, Frederick Barbarossa. The toss-up question now, Ben Goldfarb argued in a 2018 book that what animal, the second largest rodent, submerged over 200,000 square miles as a result of its dam building? Cade, Flushing.
Beaver.
That's right. Here's a bonus. The music of John Adams and Steve Reich is characteristic of what musical movement distinguished by highly repetitive musical patterns?
Baroque.
Nope, sorry, minimalism. And that brings us to the end of our round. Well, Flushing did make a little bit of a move here, so our score at this point is 140 to 110. But anything can happen when we come back with the final countdown, so don't go away.
Our great state of Michigan is truly one of a kind. From the city streets to the small towns, you can see it all right here on Destination Michigan. We'll crisscross the state in search of the sights, the sounds, and of course the people that make Michigan the greatest state in the land. Take in the scenery, meet the people, and experience the wonder of the Great Lakes State. Come along with us as we share your stories on Destination Michigan.
Unlock your newest member benefit. Over 1,000 episodes of your favorite PBS shows. American Masters, Antiques Roadshow, Nature, Nova, Masterpiece. Watch the best of PBS anytime, anywhere. Become a member, sign in, and start streaming today.
All right, this is it, the Quiz Central Final Countdown. This is another 2-minute rapid-fire round. The first player to ring in gets a shot at answering the question. If you get it wrong, we turn to the opposing team for a chance to answer. Your first question. The secret army organization tried to kill what first president of the Fifth Republic, who previously led the Free French during World War II? Next question. Sorry about that, Lily. Philip Hammond currently holds what position in the British cabinet that oversees the United Kingdom's economy and finances? Next question. What TV show, which aired a 2017 episode in which Rosa Diaz came out as bisexual, Lily Flushing?
Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
That is correct. William Preece's lecture, Signaling Through Space Without Wires, discussed the work of what Italian electrical engineer, a pioneer of radio telegraphy? Cade Flushing.
Antonio Muecci.
Nope, I'm sorry, incorrect. How about Lapeer?
Galileo.
Nope, I'm sorry, that's also wrong. Okay, next question. What play in which a character nicknamed Blue Roses is visited by a gentleman caller depicts the Wingfield family and is by Tennessee Williams? Lily Flushing.
The Glass Menagerie.
That's right. Joseph Warren was killed in what Revolutionary War battle fought on June 17th, 1775, most of whose fighting actually occurred on Breed's Hill? Josh Flushing.
The Battle of Bunker Hill.
That's right. What American symbol, named after a meatpacker from Troy, New York, is seen on the I Want You Army recruitment poster? Donovan Lapeer.
Uncle Sam.
That's right. Studies of seafloor rocks suggest that what phenomenon has reversed direction 6 times in the last 2 million years? Addison Flushing.
The Earth's electromagnetic field?
Yes, you are correct. A Mexican fisherman named Kino finds the tidal object which he later throws into the sea in what novella by John Steinbeck? Josh Flushing?
The Old Man in the Sea?
Nope, we were looking for the novella of The Pearl was the correct name there. But Flushing made a move in this final round, and they went on to win by a score of 180 to 120. Let's give them a nice round of applause. Let's see here. We had 3 questions that were missed in that round. The first president of the Fifth Republic was Charles de Gaulle. The position in the British cabinet that we were looking for was Chancellor of the Exchequer, and a pioneer of radio telegraphy was Guglielmo Marconi. All right, but still a very good game. It's exciting when they're so close like that. Let's give both teams a nice round of applause. And that does it for another edition of Quiz Central. Until next time, like us on Facebook or watch your favorite game online as we feature the best and brightest high school students from around the state. Thanks for tuning in.
Support for Quiz Central is provided by the CMU Bookstore. T-shirts, sweatshirts, hats, maroon and gold memories, and an official outfitter of Adidas apparel at the Central Michigan University owned and operated CMU Bookstore. Online shopping 7 days a week at cmubookstore.com, on campus at the University Center, and game day locations at Kelly Short Stadium and the John G. Kulhalvi Event Center.